Hey everyone, Matt from Mayfield here, and today we are going to be doing a complete audio system rebuild on a 2007 GMC Envoy. Now you might be thinking, I don't have an Envoy, why am I watching a video for an Envoy? This video is meant to be a guideline, so while some of the specifics may not apply to your vehicle, all the concepts will be the same. So, without any further ado, let's get into it.
This video was meant as a general guideline to give viewers a better understanding of car audio and how to install their own custom sound system. Some steps in this video may not apply to your specific vehicle, and some steps may need to be altered for your vehicle. It is always best to watch a vehicle-specific video for your vehicle. With that said, let's get on to the video. Enjoy.
Step 1. Information. First, we're going to get you those wiring diagrams. Open your favorite internet browser and navigate to www.the12volt.com/installbay/vehicles.asp. From there, it's as simple as selecting your make, finding your year and model, and selecting the proper diagram. In this case, we are looking for stereo diagrams. And that's it. Next, you'll be needing a dash install kit and wiring harness. My go-to is Amazon, but you can also pick these up at any local car audio store. For the dash kit, just type in your make, model, and year, followed by stereo install kit. And it should populate with plastic kits like this, that make your either double or single DIN stereo fit in the stock slot. Next, we are going to get a wiring harness. Once again, my go-to is Amazon, but you can find these at a local audio store. Just search your year, make, and model, followed by wiring harness, and just like that, you found it. Now, I'm going to give you a quick understanding as to how exactly a car stereo works. So it all starts with the battery. The battery supplies power to the deck and the amplifier. The deck is what converts the signal from your source, the CD, radio, or music player, and sends it off to the speakers. If your system is amplified, there is one extra step because the deck will then send the signal to the amplifier, and the amplifier will send it to your speakers. You can also have an amp hooked up to subwoofers, which are meant purely to add bass to your system. Now that we have our info, let's get on to making it happen.
Step 2. Disassembly. This is the hardest part of the whole process. Figuring out how to take apart your car without breaking anything can be quite daunting, but it's actually a pretty simple process. The key is to use your eyes. Look for any bolts and clips around the piece that you're trying to remove and take those out first. Once you've started prying, take extra caution if you feel some extra resistance, because there's either a clip behind it that you can't see, or you missed something when you were trying to remove the visible clips and bolts. You'll need to remove many trim pieces, including the factory deck, the side trim, as well as door panels if you plan on installing aftermarket speakers. However, we won't be doing that today. Lastly, you'll need to find a spot to attach the ground for your amplifiers. Just find a location where there's a bolt that goes into the frame, and both are unpainted, and you've found your ground. Once you've located the ground, you'll also need to remove trim pieces that might get in the way. What most people don't know is that the entirety of the car's frame connects to the negative terminal of your battery. This makes it pretty simple to find a ground. Step 3. Wiring to the harness. This is a wiring harness adapter. It connects to the car's factory harness and allows you to wire in a new harness without having to tamper with the old one. Simply solder the ends of your aftermarket harness to the harness adapter, and you're done. You can use wiring diagrams like these as a guide. They should have come with your aftermarket stereo as well as the harness adapter. From here, it's just plug and play. In our case, we couldn't use one of these adapters because the vehicle's security system wouldn't allow it. So I had to clip off the end of the factory harness and wire directly onto it while bypassing the power straight to the battery. It might seem complicated, but after a little bit of tinkering, we got the exact same result as we would have using an adapter. Step 4. Getting power. There are two main power components in a car's audio system, the battery and an amplifier. The first step is to prep your wire by adding the leads necessary to make a connection. You'll need 2 ring terminals, 3 fork terminals, making sure that one of them is small enough to fit your trigger wire, and a wire tap for your trigger wire. To connect all these terminals is the same. Strip your wire, place the terminal on the stripped end, and crimp it down. With bigger wires, I like to solder the terminal onto the end of it. It just gives you a little bit more protection and ensures it won't break loose. However, it's optional. The last thing you're going to need to add to your 12-volt line is a fuse. A fuse is a metal piece, usually made out of zinc, copper, silver, or aluminum, or a combination of them. And what it does is when it senses a circuit that's about to short out, the fuse burns, essentially stopping the flow of electricity through that line, thus preventing fires, sparks, things like that. To install a fuse is quite simple. All you have to do is assemble the fuse, then make a cut in your 12-volt line, about half a foot away from the battery, but the closer the better. Next, you just need to strip the ends of your cut 12-volt and insert them into the fuse, clamping them down with the screw that you'll find at the top. From there, your fuse is installed. After that, all you got to do is cover the wires up with some electrical tape, and you're good to go. The second step is to run a 12-volt lead off the battery. To do this, you'll need to locate a grommet in the engine bay. The grommet is a hole in the vehicle's firewall that allows cables to pass from the interior of the vehicle to the engine bay, or vice versa. It is a rubber ring of sorts and will look like this. Once you've found your grommet, you will need to use a knife or scissors to put a hole through it big enough to allow your 12-volt wires to pass through. If you're only running one amplifier, the hole only needs to be big enough for one wire. However, if you're running 2 or more amplifiers, you need to ensure that the hole is big enough to accommodate those extra wires. You might want to run 2 amplifiers, that way you can have one for your speakers and one for your subwoofers, which is the setup that we're doing. If you want something a little more complicated, you can run as many amplifiers as you want. In our case, we're using 8-gauge wire for the speaker amplifier and 4-gauge for the subwoofer amplifier, as subwoofers take a lot more power and therefore you need a larger diameter wire to accommodate that. So, we sized our hole accordingly and pushed the wires through. There's many different methods to get the wires through the grommet, however this is the one that I've found works best. First, you need to take a coat hanger and cut it. Then, straighten it out. Once you've straightened your hanger, tape the cable to the end of it, ensuring that the transition is smooth as to not wreck the tape. From there, use the stiffness of the coat hanger to push the cable through, and you're done. After that, just route the cables to wherever you would like your amplifier to sit. In our case, we put one under the passenger rear seat and one to the trunk, as these were the locations of our amplifiers. Then, using the ground cable in your kit, simply bolt it to your predetermined ground location and route it to the chosen amplifier location. The last wire you'll need to run is a trigger wire. A trigger wire is a 12-volt positive wire that tells the amps and your stereo deck when to turn on. You can tap into the 12-volt ignition wire or any wire that only becomes hot or only has power when the vehicle is turned on. In our case, we couldn't find a usable wire for this, so we had to just wire it to a switch, but that also gave us some extra control over what this system is doing. Step 5. Running signal cables. You'll definitely be familiar with RCA cables as they're used in a lot of other applications and not just car audio. To hook up these cables is quite simple. All you have to do is plug one end into the deck, then run it back to where you want your amplifier to sit, and plug the other end into the amplifier, and you're done. If you're planning on running 2 or more amplifiers, you might want to make sure that your deck has 2 or more ports for an RCA cable. You can still run multiple amplifiers if you only have one port on your deck, except you'll need to use a splitter and therefore you'll lose control of the individual amplifiers and you'll be controlling them as one unit. In our case, we have 3 ports on the back of our deck, 2 for our speakers and 1 for our subwoofer, so we're good to go. Step 6. Hooking up your amplifiers. The good news is, you've already almost finished the work for this step. You've already plugged your RCA cables in, and you've already run your power cables. Now all that's left to do is plug in your power cables. You're going to want to first connect your ground, and ensure that you're connecting it to the ground port on your amplifier. Then, connect the 12-volt positive lead, again making sure that you're plugging it into the positive terminal on your amplifier. And lastly, plug in your trigger wire, and you're done. Step 7. Testing. Testing is a pretty important step in this process. You don't want to reassemble your whole interior just to have to take it apart again because something didn't work out quite right. Luckily, testing isn't a hard thing to do and it's actually kind of fun. In the testing phase, you might want to do some minor tuning of the amplifier. There will be separate knobs on the amplifier to control this, so as long as you have access to your amplifier, you'll be able to change this later on. Just turn on your system and play your favorite song and make sure that all the speakers are working properly. Just don't get too lost in the music just yet. You still have a car to put back together after all. Step 8. Reassembly. Once again, this step is pretty simple. All you have to do is do everything you did in disassembly but in reverse this time, so it's kind of the same. If you feel like you might struggle with putting it back together after the fact, one trick I like to use is I like to take pictures of everything before I've taken them apart, just so that I have a point of reference in case something gets messed up along the way. If you're someone who plans on tinkering with this system quite often, one thing I like to do is if a clip or bolt seems pretty unnecessary, like it won't affect the vehicle too much, I don't put it back in, Obviously, it's more advisable to put everything back the way you got it from, but if you know what you're doing, you can cut some corners. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this video useful. Stay tuned for more videos like this in the future, and drop in the comments what you'd like to see me do next. Once again, thanks for watching, and this is Matt from Mayfield signing off.